What's up, y'all? Trevon Barber here with Right to Bear and Barber Training Solutions, here to go over flying with the firearm. Yes, it is legal. Yes, you can fly with your firearms. There's a few things that you want to keep in mind, so let's go through that. First thing, firearms can only go in checked baggage. It obviously needs to be unloaded, no ammunition in the firearm. Ammo can actually be in the magazines, but we're going to go into that in a second. Make sure that you go to your airline's website ahead of time. Make sure you're following the policies. You have a clear understanding of what's going on. If you have questions, just call them and ask. Make sure that you're arriving to the airport 2 to 3 hours ahead of time, because airports are crazy. You want to get there early anyway, especially when checking baggage and having to go through security. But also, when you're checking a firearm, depending on the gate agent that day, whether it's early morning, late afternoon, whatever time of day, they could be new, it could be old, it could just be a little cranky. You want to make sure that you get there with enough time for you to be patient and not have to feel rushed and get into a tit for tat sort of thing. So I fly with firearms several times a year, being an instructor and a competitive shooter. And I don't tend to have many issues, but I have run into some issues. So I'll tell you some of those stories as well without trying to make the video way too long. But let's go through the general gist of flying with the firearm. So because I already have the ammo out, let's go into the ammo situation. When flying with ammo, the vast majority of airlines will only allow you to fly with 11 pounds, which typically equates to about 450 to 500 rounds. Maybe you can get away with 550 if you only pack it in cardboard boxes. Now, the thing with flying with ammunition is it has to be in a hard side container or some sort of hard container, whether it's plastic or cardboard. It has to be in that sort of container, and it has to be individual. I don't know how to phrase it other than individually packed, meaning that every single cartridge has its own little cavity here. So that's why I like flying with these, because I can easily count out my ammunition, or fly with the factory ammunition, which is even easier and good to go. What you cannot do, which some manufacturers send ammo and things like this, which technically to the airlines is considered loose ammunition because the ammo isn't individually in a personal slot per se. So even though this could have padlocks on it, it could have zip ties, whatever the case may be, to the airline, if these padlocks come loose, you forgot to lock it, somebody pops them, whatever, and this comes open, they've got ammo all through a bag, and if that bag gets broken into or open, now you've got ammo all over the belly of the plane. They're not going to be very happy. Other manufacturers will also send ammunition in these vacuum sealed little baggies, whether it's these little teeny packs. I've had manufacturers send them in 500 round packs. I tried flying back from, I think it was Missouri 2 years ago. Somebody gave me a big old bag of ammo as a thank you for teaching. Got to the airport and they confiscated it because they said even though it was sealed, it was clearly labeled, there was no punctures, it was going inside of a locked checked bag, it was considered loose ammo because it was out and about in the baggie. I told them to give it to the officers. Thanks, it was free ammo. I was not very happy. It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, really early flight. But I didn't want to delay it any further. I wasn't going to win because it was the supervisor, and I knew that I was correct as far as the ammunition being sealed up, going inside a locked bag, but because it's considered loose, I now know don't fly with anything in baggies like that. So you really just want to make sure the ammunition is 11 pounds or less, and also keep it in a hard-sided case, whether it's cardboard or this little plastic case. Be aware that you can actually get away with around 50 more rounds of ammo and stay under that weight limit if you go with cardboard boxes instead of these sort of boxes. They're just a little bit heavier. Okay, now to the gun. So the gun needs to go inside of a hard-sided case. I chose a Apache 3800 from Harbor Freight. You can choose a Apache, you can choose a Pelican, whatever the case may be. You want to put your guns, one, in a protective case so your guns don't get beat to crap when the TSA agent who has the bags yeets your baggage onto the plane. But also, that's just part of the policy. So what I personally do is I take this Apache case. I have 2 heavy padlocks that go in there, and you have to have access to the keys. Ooh, the Southern almost came out. You have to have access to the keys and nobody else, or the code on the padlocks themselves. And every hole that is able to be locked on your case has to be locked. Now, this can fly by itself. It doesn't have to go inside of additional checked luggage, but it can. So what I actually do is I place this box inside of my hard case checked luggage, but you can also have a soft case, and it's good to go. What that does is instead of somebody seeing this Apache case or Pelican case come off the belt and automatically know that something expensive is in there, they don't know that it's a gun, but it could be camera equipment, could be anything expensive, and I don't want somebody getting antsy and grabbing my box before I see it. I prefer to put my case inside of another suitcase. And in my other suitcase, I typically pack, my dirty shoes that I might be running around the range, my range backpack, other miscellaneous items to get up to that 50-pound weight allowance. And also just kind of discreetly hide what I'm really taking with me. So inside of the Apache case, I just have another piece of foam. Get that out of there. I have my firearms unloaded and cleared. So that's my competition gun. This is my carry gun, which is essentially the twins. Look at that thing. Aren't those things just sexy? CZ Shadow 2 full, CZ Shadow 2 compact. But I take both of those with me generally. One, my compact, my carry gun is for carrying when I'm in a state where I can legally carry, but I also take it as a backup gun to where if I need to scrap parts off of it to get my main gun back running or just shoot my carry gun, that's what I'll do. Then I also have several mags. Today they're unloaded, but several mags in here in the case. And then typically I'll either have my ammo in the case in another compartment, or I'll just have it inside of the hard case. I fly with the hard case suitcase inside of that case, just secure it so that it's not flying around in the bag, and I'm good to go. You can actually load the magazines, and I typically take a piece of tape and put it over top of that last bullet so that when they scan it with the x-ray, they being TSA, they see that it's held inside the magazine, it can't go into the gun, etc. What you do not want to do, which I actually did this before, was I had my magazines on one layer of my case, and I took my guns, so to say this is one layer of the case, and my gun is this layer. So as somebody goes by and they scan it with a x-ray, they saw that, right? So they're looking through the gun into a mag, and through the x-ray, it looks like there's a mag inside of the gun. Got called back to TSA, was told to open the case because it looked like I had a loaded firearm. I did not, but it was a learning lesson to make sure that when you're layering your stuff in your case, you layer it to where the person who's looking through an x-ray doesn't get very confused and think that you're breaking their rules, right? So I will load everything up into here just like that. I actually have an air tag in here as well. Not very well hidden, but you can hide it better. Take everything, lock her down, padlocks go on, this goes in my bag, I put it on the scale, good to go. Now, when you actually get to the gate agent, what are they gonna say? Nothing. Oh, so you're checking a bag? Yes, I am. Hey, ma'am, hey, sir, I actually need to declare firearms. That's it. Okay, sir. They will give you this little orange tag, which mine seems to be missing because I got rid of it when I got home. They'll give you this orange tag. It's a firearm declaration tag. It essentially says that you are responsible for packing your bag properly, that you have an unloaded gun, no mag is in the gun, you have the correct amount of ammunition, etc., etc. You sign your life away. I always put my phone number on that tag because the last person to see that tag is TSA when they do the x-ray. So if they x-ray your stuff and they say, oh man, there's an issue, or we just need to check inside of your bag, and they do not have access to your firearm, they have to call you. Nobody else is supposed to have access to your firearm. Not TSA, not the gate agent, nobody. You're supposed to have the keys or the code. That's why I despise any case that has TSA locks on it. Now, if my hard side regular luggage case has TSA locks, okay. But the actual case that has my goods in it, my expensive firearms or the things I don't want people getting access to, or camera equipment, whatever, I do not want TSA locks on there, because it also means that any Joe Schmo who was able to get a TSA key can also key that lock and take my stuff, or anybody working the luggage compartment, etc., etc. And really, that's about it as far as flying with the firearm. Make sure that your stuff is in a hard-sided case. I personally put mine inside of another suitcase, one, to protect the firearm additionally, but also keep curious eyes away. It's just another suitcase, so you shouldn't be looking at it. But if you don't want to do that, you can stick this right on the belt, and I've done that a time or two with a bigger case. It's yellow, so it can protect my guns even better. And you're good to go. Follow the steps. Hit up the airline ahead of time. Make sure you're there on time. Be professional, be polite, and be patient. You might get somebody who's had a very rough day. It's not going to make it any better for you to argue back and forth with them. Now, there is one thing. It's called a Pew Policy Tag, and I wish I had it right here in front of me, but it's sold by one of my friends. He makes it. It's called a Pew Policy Tag, and I'll try to link it down below. But essentially, it has a QR code to where the gate agent can just scan that code, and it brings up their policies. They can scroll down and say, there is American. Click on American. It goes straight to their personal policy. So it kind of gets rid of any of the arguments. Ma'am, sir, here's your policy. I am following your policy. And maybe they don't know it, or maybe they're just trying to say that they're the boss that day, but they have to follow their policy. I've used that Pew Policy Tag at least twice now, and I've only had it for 4 or 5 months. It really comes in handy, so I don't have to sit there and sound like I'm the know-it-all and spew off information to you because I fly all the time. You just read your own policy. We both agree on it. We both smile and say, thanks, have a good day, and we're good to go. Again, be patient, be polite, be professional. Easy peasy. Keep doing it. Do your thing. Make it to your destination safely. Just follow the rules and have fun. If you got any questions, let us know. Shoot it down in the comments below. Please check out the blog post again. It's going to go over this information with additional detail. And then also, just let us know how we're doing. Let us know if you like this sort of content, what else you want to see, what you like, what you don't like, etc., etc. Stay safe, shoot straight. See you on the range soon.